Hello everybody and welcome back to Project Dice. As we are in my fourth and final video to Project Dice, I'd just like to thank everyone for listening. I know you're all going to be very sad that I'm not going to be posting anymore, but I think you'll be able to get through it. Alright, in the fourth and final video here, I'm going to be talking about the derivative rules or shortcuts. Now, Mr. Toby warned us that once we learned these rules, we were going to be pretty upset with him for making us do it the long way, and I can't say he was wrong, but doing these is pretty satisfying. The first rule we got here is the power rule. You can see here f of x equals x to the fourth, and f prime of x, or the derivative, equals 4x to the third. Basically, all you do here is multiply the x by the exponent, and then drop the exponent minus 1, and that is your derivative. Next rule here is the e to the x rule, and this is definitely the most basic rule, but any derivative of e to the x is also e to the x. The next rule is the product rule, and this rule can only be used when it is two terms being multiplied by each other, and the rule is the f of x times g prime of x plus g of x times f prime of x. So one term times the derivative of the other term, and then that other term times the derivative of the first term. And these ones can be a little bit tricky, but the main thing to pay attention to is your like terms, and they're not as bad as they look. Alright, our fourth and final rule we have learned about is the quotient rule. And the quotient rule is the original function will be y equals f of x over g of x. And the derivative of that, y prime, is g of x times f prime of x minus f of x times g prime of x over g of x squared. And a nice helpful way Mr. Toby taught us to remember this one is low d high minus high d low over low squared. So basically, the bottom term times the derivative, low d high, of the top term minus high derivative of the low term, high d low. And as we took our first quiz on this, that was definitely one thing that I don't know if I would have remembered that rule as well as I did without that shortcut. Alright, everyone. Once again, thanks for listening, and maybe I'll see you guys again, but this here is the end of Project Dice.